Hi there, this is Ethan Brown with The Woodsman's Way, and today we're going to test out actually my first forged knife that I finished off, handled the whole bit. We're going to test it out and see if it can really take up to some hardwood, some fine carving, and also some flint and steel. We'll see if that works. So stick around and we'll get right to it. Alright, so I got us a decent size and weedy stick, so we'll go ahead and line this blade up and whack it down and chop it to some finer pieces. That seems to be doing a little bit better than that. We got a little bit of sharper edge to work on. Again, this is wet wood, but still, that should be doing a little better than that. I don't think my edge, it's fairly sharp, but it could be definitely sharper. The spine, sorry, not the edge. Okay, so that went fairly well. I wasn't super impressed with it, but like I said, the wood was a little bit wet, and so that is going to affect how fine your shavings are going to get down, and also the lightability of the shavings. Obviously, that's what we're going to try next. We're going to try a ferrocerium rod on the back of the blade. See how well that goes. Try to get this lit. It may or may not. Like I said, it's got some moisture in it. And then we'll go ahead and try out the spark test, see how well that spine handles flint on the back, and kind of check out the size of those sparks we get off of. So let's go check it out. Got my ferrocerium rod with some Gorilla Tape wrapped around it, just a little note. Dave Canterbury recommends it, and I've seen several other guys do it as well. Putting some tape around it can be an awesome emergency fire extender. The oils and stuff within the glue, once lit, stay lit for quite a while. I've seen a guy not use any tinder bundle at all and just use, well, they're probably about that long folded, rolled up, about 2 to 3 rolls of that, of like duct tape or Gorilla Tape, and dry out some. It wasn't super wet, but it was just, I mean, stuff you'd find around on the ground. And he dried it out pretty good and started a fire with it. So it's definitely an option as a survival kind of additive to your kit. So let's go ahead and try this out. Go ahead and add, since it is a little wet, we'll go ahead and add some shavings to it. Just help it get going. We had a little bit of spark there, but it didn't quite go. The blade, obviously this is my first blade I made, so you're going to have some of those beginner errors. And when I did, there was a few times when I was beating on it, forging it, that I didn't quite get it to a hot enough texture to beat on it. And so there is some rough edges, especially along the spine here where some cracks did develop. They haven't seemed to be too much of an issue thus far. Obviously, I'll learn that a little more down the road when I start doing some major whacking. I'll find out how stiff and how strong it actually is. But they seem to be throwing the sparks quite a ways. When you're using a blade and the back of the blade and a ferrocerium rod starter fire, you are going to have some of the sparks jump around a little bit if you don't keep it centralized. But this one seems to be jumping around quite a bit more. I think some of these inconsistencies might be causing that. We'll try it again here. Okay, so we were not able to actually ignite a flame. Had a little bit of an ember catch there, but it went ahead and went out. I think most of that is on two factors. One, it is wet, and so that's not going to help the situation. It's not as impregnated with the sap as I'd like. Obviously, if you had a red colored shaving with a lot of sap in it, it's going to catch even if it's a little bit moist. But the knife, because of the inconsistencies on the spine, tend to throw the flames, or the sparks, shall I say, in a wide range of places, and that was not helping the situation at all. So I'd say those two factors probably are leading to this. So would not necessarily depend on this to provide, definitely wouldn't depend on this to provide a really good spark with the ferrocerium rod unless I had quite a bit of fat wood or other material to catch. Definitely the sparks as you're getting off would light some kind of charred material. That would be a definite. Let's go ahead and try out with a piece of flint, and let's see how big sparks we're getting off of it. Hopefully those, which I think it will end up a little bit, those inconsistencies in the spine, hopefully those won't throw the sparks too far and wide, but let's go ahead and try it out. Our area cleared off here. Got a piece of flint here. We got an edge kind of sharp here. Let's go ahead and try it. Now I'm going to note for any beginners that this is going to buff up your edge. The whole idea, and you guys probably already know this if you've looked into flint at all, the whole idea is that the flint is merely just a sharp edge that is taking off one molecular layer of steel off of the blade on a sharp edge, and when it takes off that one molecular layer and it reacts with oxygen, it immediately sparks. Now, I believe you're only getting about 800 degree sparks Fahrenheit with using flint and steel. I believe that's the number. Whereas ferrocerium rod, you're in the 1,000 range of degrees. So let's go ahead and try it out here. I'll get around this side so you guys can see the sparks a little better. Let me get up here. So we got some decent sparks coming off of that. I like that. They're not jumping around as much as I thought they would, but they're still. And actually, it seems as though those inconsistencies seem to be helping a little bit, kind of catching it and making it go. We'll try the other side here. Oh wow, I like that. Yep, those sparks seem to be going in a general direction and seem to be quite a bit. So I really like that. That means this can definitely, so I would say an overall view on creating sparks would definitely say this can create spark with the ferrocerium rod. Need a lot of material to catch, and can definitely make sparks with a piece of flint, and just use charred material for the ferrocerium rod and flint, and you should be good to go. Okay, so the last test we are going to do this is kind of a bonus for those that stuck around. We're going to try to chop this, I would say at least an inch in diameter. Yeah, I'd say about an inch in diameter hickory tree here that's growing out. This would be, I mean, an inch to an inch and a half would probably be good for a small shelter or something. Obviously, you can use small or dead wood. But this would be a good, I think this will be a good test for a knife of this magnitude, and for it to being a beginning knife. I can't expect too much of it out of it. So let's go ahead and try to chop it down. Just checking it, making sure the glue held and everything looks good. I use an E6000 glue, the industrial model is what I think it's called, industrial uses or something like that. And there it is. Chopped it right through. Very impressed with that. Okay, so overall, I'd say this knife does pretty well. Obviously, there is some problems with the inconsistencies in the spine and some cracks that develop during forging. But that's just part of learning. When you're first starting out, that's just going to happen, like it happened to me. This is my first forged knife. The handle I actually redid. This is the second handle I created for it. It's all about getting that design that you like and get that good grip feel. If I did this over, I would did a little bit thinner of a handle, a little bit shorter of a handle, because with the blade length it just doesn't need that. But this was my first time also dealing with a hidden tang. That was kind of interesting to do. So yeah, I think overall this is a good knife, and definitely add it to my kit. Just got to make a sheath for it, probably out of Kydex or possibly some buckskin. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to use yet. But yeah, I say get out there and make you a knife, make you tools. They might not work great at the beginning, but the only way to learn is to try it out. You know, get on community Facebook pages and stuff like that. You can learn. I've learned a ton from pages like that. There's guys out there who have been doing it for years and years and have perfected it down to a science. Sometimes you can't use the expensive equipment they have, but not all of them use expensive equipment. Some of them just have regular stuff, and they can show you a lot. So I appreciate you guys watching, and please like and subscribe this video. Comment if you have any pictures of your first knife, even if you've been doing it and making tools and knives for many years. Try to find that picture of your first knife and put it below so others can see. Thanks a bunch for watching.